There we go. Okay, cool.
Nice.
All right, well, I think I'm gonna do like we could kind of just let a couple people come in,
Yeah.
and then maybe in next couple minutes we could get this thing cracking real quick. But I'm excited. Like I did a live probably in like months. I think like a live like when I'm in with somebody else. So this is pretty dope.
I don't think I've ever done a live
Oh
outside of
yeah.
like streaming events. I don't usually talk like
Yeah.
this.
Okay, cool. Well, shit, I am honored to be, the social media, that's breaking your life.
I
Just,
appreciate
today.
it.
Real shit, real shit. That's dope. I'm actually about to do. I figured try to make my background a little bit more juicier. So I got my paint with me today. You know what I'm saying?
Are you gonna paint? Oh, this is great. This is
Yeah, man. Here we go.
Love it.
A little song for songs, you know what I'm saying?
Gorgeous.
We go to swim.
Beautiful. Got multiple colors going here.
Right, the little mesh, you know what I mean?
We should just do a live stream that's just us painting things.
Hell yeah, I think that would be dope. I was like, get your paints out, everybody. We're gonna paint today.
I love it.
Yup. Hell yeah.
Gorgeous.
I'm gonna try to start making like my little live backgrounds a little bit more glorious. You know what I'm saying? So you come in, it's like a whole thing. You know what I mean? In the background. Hell yeah. I cleaned out this closet, my sister's closet, one of her closets in her spot, and I was like, oh, this room about to be the recording studio. I was like, we have all this time to be up in here today. Listen, I'm gonna make this room into like a whole complete recording studio, live studio. You know what I'm saying? So music about to be dropping. You know what I'm saying? Like,
then there's like a full set, just like ready.
Right. Exactly. Definitely. I've been in this time, I guess I should say, I was thinking about like, all the things that I wanted to do, like the things that I actually wanted to start doing because I put a lot of time into BLA and I didn't even realize how much that I was not really doing some of the things that I like really love to do, you know? And so I'm like, I've just been exploring and like experimenting, painting more again, making beats and stuff and, learning different languages and shit. Like I'm just over here like.
What languages are you learning?
Swahili right now.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I'm learning Swahili, and just I don't know, just kind of dabbling like a little kid. I just feel like I just be picking up stuff, and I'm like, you know what I mean?
Like this is the time. I think too. I've been talking to a lot of folks who are like, this is the time to be productive and like write a book and like do and just like sure, like yes, write a book if that's like your creative self needs that. But right. Also, like I've been doing I should say the last 3 days I've been doing more yoga, but like it's a start, and I think that. Just like also remembering that this is a time where we could like take a breath and not worry about hustling to like get on the train or like be somewhere. And it's just like in that time taking more mental space, I think is so important. So I'm glad to hear learning languages.
Hell yeah. Really, like we've I don't know why this song is coming in my head, but when Beyonce goes, "We'll stop the world stop." And then Nikki comes in and does her thing and shit. Like I feel like the world is like at this beautiful standstill, as like unpredictable as life is, as already even before all this stuff started going on. It's like the world is having time to just be like, okay, breathe. You know what I mean? Like just exhale. You know what I mean? Because we've all been just so
like planet is doing that also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Birds, hummingbirds coming out. Like, what's up? I've been seeing bees all over the place, and just watching nature. Like even the air. I don't even know if y'all noticed the air, but like the air that we breathe is like it's crisp. It's really. I mean, I'm in Atlanta right now, but I really have like when I walk outside today, yeah, my sister was like, isn't the, like, when you breathe in, like, we had the door open, she was like, doesn't it feel like crisp? I'm like, hell yeah, it feels, I don't know, it just feels like a new, like, Mother Earth is just like, all right, y'all, I'm back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what's good? You know what I'm saying?
totally.
But
I hope it has like I hope, and I'm optimistic that it has a positive, like, long term, where we all realize, like, oh, we don't like living. I'm in LA, and I haven't been out in the streets, but I hear that, like, the air quality is significantly better than it has been in a long time. And so, just like, how do we keep that going? Like, if there's less travel, how do we make sure that we're also still, like, not doing all the other negative things to hurt the planet? So I'm hoping it goes better.
hell yeah, me too. But shit, let's just go ahead and get this thing kicked off. I don't know how it saves. Like, I've done it like one time before, but I don't know how to save the thing. But I
Oh,
definitely am gonna.
they'll give you a little to save it.
Okay, cool. So let's just go ahead and start it, and then what I'll end up doing is going ahead and posting it to YouTube so people
Cool.
can catch it. But thank you for coming through. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who's coming in, coming out, you know what I'm saying? Tell a friend. We got Micah here from Two Swim, and I feel like we are revolutionizing the way we are changing social media right now. And like, let's tell us about yourself, you know, where you from, you know, and just a little bit about yourself, your background and stuff like that. And then we'll get into, you know, the you know, Two Swims, the streams and shit.
Love it. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Mika.
Oh, my bad, Mika.
No,
Mika, I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm gonna get it.
So I'm from Toronto, Canada, the six, and grew up there, performing arts, elementary and high school. Was a drama kid, but I was the drama kid who, like, sat at all the other tables. So I had friends who were dancers, I had friends who were in music, and I was just like fluttering to everyone. And it was really, like, a really fun time. I loved it. I had a very abnormal upbringing too. Like, my dad was a jazz musician. I lived sort of a double life many times. My day life was really full of, like, community and people. And at night, my mom and I had a very housing insecure situation. So for me, community was a tool for survival and also for getting out of that situation. I ended up starting my career in marketing and branding at 17. I got a job with a woman-run marketing company called Pink Mafia, which is awesome, and they still exist in a form today. And worked there for about 4 years, doing everything from planning events to experiential marketing, running an all-woman street team across the country. So, like, you know, it's like flyering a pace that's like doing that. It was really awesome and really fun, especially being like a 17-year-old in that world was really exciting. So I did that for a few years. Ended up running my own social media consultancy for a bit. Got into some writing, was doing some teaching, ended up meeting my husband, Michael. We moved to New York in 2016, and I decided to go back to school. I went to the new school. I did a self-design degree. I don't know how much, like, detail you wanted me to go into, so I'm just going.
Just go. I'm like, damn. I'm like, shit, 17. Look, out the gate was just like going. Okay, that's dope.
Yeah. So moved to New York in 2016. I went to the new school. And did a self-design degree, self-titled, a letter for every thousands of dollars I paid, titled Intersectional Pedagogy Through the Arts and Social Engagement. So,
okay, now you got to explain what's that? What's good with that?
So the focus of my degree and my whole study there was around how we impart and gain forms of knowledge through a race, class, gender, sexuality, ability lens, and then how the arts and community organizing impact that. And while I was in school, I also ended up being awarded a fellowship with an organization in New York called No Longer Empty. And they do site-specific and community-centered exhibitions in unique spaces around New York. So that fellowship ended up actually turning into a full-time role. And I ended up spending the last 2.5 years running their education department. So working with young people in New York, mostly in East Flatbush, out of Kings County Hospital. A lot of my students were like young POC, queer teens, young women, just like young people with a lot to say who need platforms to use to say what they want to say. And so really exploring how the arts can be tools for social justice, how they could use social platforms, different media platforms to actually have their voices heard and build like alliances and coalitions with other youth organizations. And I loved the work. I'm still on their advisory board now. And parallel to that, so I was in school, I was working. My partner, Michael, and I had been ideating in social for a very long time. He used to work in creative direction and fashion and music. left that industry, left it. Like, taught himself to code that year, which was like 2017 into 2018. And we started building in social in 2018, launched our first app in 2019, have been we're iterating on that through the spring of last year, moved to LA in July from New York, started building Two Swim, launched Two Swim a couple months ago, like a month and a half ago in beta. And now we're just in the process of bringing on partners. Our team is growing. Shout out to Sanaya, who might be on here right now.
Hey, what up, Sanaya?
Yeah. And yeah, so that's where we are now.
God, dog, you've been in the game for a minute now. Like, it seems like this has been something that you just like naturally gravitated to without, like, I don't know. I just feel like the universe just kind of sent you in the direction to make it happen since you was young. You know what I mean? Marketing and, you know, design and, you know, collaborating with, you know, intersectionality communities, different communities, the youth, the media, which is like one of the biggest or greatest things that you can do to tap into the mind of us. You know what I mean? So I think that's pretty fucking dope. So it's Two Swim. Tell us a little bit about Two Swim and like when you got to Two Swim, like what initially did y'all have in mind when y'all were creating the social media platform, and like what would you say is one thing that you would like people to take from Two Swim?
Yeah, so for us, in terms of building Two Swim, at the core of everything that we're passionate about is thinking about better and more meaningful ways to self-express and connect with other people. And by we, I mean Michael and I and Sanaya and like our team, but also we as human beings. Like, it is so important that we find ways to connect with each other. Like, literally, this is a perfect example of like, we're living in a time where never before have we been more divided, also as a nation, but generally just like literally physically. And so for us, it's really thinking about how to create opportunities for that. So in building social and building in that space, thinking about social media as we understand it. So something like the platform we're using right now has a purpose. I would argue it's not about necessarily connection all the time. And I think that often a lot of like mainstream social ends up being about content and about the display and about sort of like putting out and not actually receiving back or having that reciprocity. And so for us, thinking about create tools that first and foremost prioritize that. And so that's sort of where the ideas for Two Swim came to be, was ideating from our previous app that we had built and thinking just about like, what does it mean? Like, what is privacy in terms of a community setting? How do we have conversations that sometimes are public, sometimes are private, and where is that gray area in between? And so with Two Swim, we were really thinking about like, first of all, what is functionality people love or like understand at the very least, being messaging. So Two Swim is social messaging with a focus on close connections and private communities. We're for everybody, but right now we're focused exclusively on POC, LGBTQ+ and or women-centric communities. Allies are allowed, but that's what we're focused on. And really thinking about messaging as a core function we all know and understand. How do we make it better, and how do we make it actually social and about the people, not just about, you know, like when you're like in like a WhatsApp or like any text message chat, it's like thousands of messages and you just trying to be heard. And so thinking of how do we switch that dynamic so it's about everybody being part of the conversation.
Okay, god damn. Y'all took it to another level. I was on there yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? I think me and Sanai, I don't know the day, but it just, I've never been on a social media platform that was so catered to something so specific. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes a lot of social medias have a whole bunch of different branches. Like it branches in so many different directions. Like a lot of things get lost in translation sometimes. And you're just like, what the fuck? Wait. So I feel like with the streams that y'all have, and I think it's so cute that y'all have, it's Two Swim, and then you have like the streams, and then the streams of like consciousness of like people being able to, yeah, right? Like that's cute. That was super, super, super duper cute. But you know, just so we can be able to have like a center place where people can, you know, if they want to expand on something, they can expand on something. If they want to, you know, leave the conversation to the side, they can leave the conversation to the side. But it's always something that's continuously moving and continuously going. And it's really, honestly, to think about it, that's our world. Like that's the world that we live in. Is like we can keep things going, trends, whatever we're talking about, we can keep those things moving, or we can just stop talking about them. One thing that happened last week, you know, we might not be talking about this week. So I love the fact that y'all catered the platform to that specifically. So just talk a little bit about like the back end of the platform and like y'all's process of like building that, because I don't really know so much, but like the process of building this platform to cater to that specifically.
Totally. So in terms of how we build, Michael's background being in creative direction, like we don't come from like a traditional tech background. We've been working in tech for 2 years now, but we definitely, I think, approach things. I think everyone approaches things differently, but especially because our backgrounds are like in the arts. Michael's also an artist too. I'm a writer and I work in visual arts. Like thinking about like how do we build for feeling first rather than function. So everything on Tuesday, literally the existence of the app itself is so purposeful, which is why when you see like a lot of some of the mainstream platforms, they have like 7,000 elements because it was started kind of for one thing, but ended up when it got popular being something else. And so we really thought, like, put a lot of time and thought into like functionality on with that in mind, which is also a good thing about coming after others is you learn from all their mistakes.
Yeah, real.
Get into that, but one of the things we think about with functionality in terms of what you were saying around ephemerality, meaning for those watching, when Crew rates a post, it lives for 24 hours. When I reply, it extends the lifespan by 24 hours. So as long as we're interacting, it stays alive. And as you said, like when you think about that, it's really just thinking about the flow of conversation and what is natural, right? Like sometimes, and it's thinking too about like, not everything needs to live forever. Like not every conversation needs to be saved. Not every chat is relevant for the rest of your life. But also like on Swim, you can pin post. The idea being you have the choice to curate that and keep it visible or get rid of it. And that stands both as on your own individual profile, but also within the streams or the groups. And for us too, even thinking about like, we don't have a like button. It's an emoji that's chosen by the person writing the post. The whole idea being when you're having a conversation, like we're having a conversation right now. If I went super left field, I mean, you're nice, so you might let me, but like you probably would try and like steer me back and like ask me to like back based on the way we're having a conversation, which is exactly what should be on social. Like, why are we liking, first of all, why are we liking people's posts? We should not be approving of someone's baby photo. That's just weird. I don't get it. But we're giving people feedback based on how the platform allows us to, not based on how the people want it. And so even just to bring that down a layer, it's like obviously responding via text or photo is like the easy, like the most direct way to do it. But even lower barrier to entry is like emojis can express so much so easily, and they might mean something different to you versus your friend multi-tapping, but they know what you mean, and that's the whole purpose. Right. And so about like how do we actually make it easier to have conversations that are not just about displaying content and me, you know, throwing fire signs at you and not saying anything to me.
Engagement. Yes, engagement.
But it's fine to put fire signs under everything. Like I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying people need
flames. 100 flames. Right.
Yeah. And so for us, it's really thinking about like how do we change that? How do we take it from being text, so like you write text and I can reply photo, and how do we like have these different layers of media or interaction in the post? Even like high level, when you write a post, like you know how on Twitter when you reply to someone's post, everyone sees it, and then no privacy in that. On Swim, you don't see people's replies unless you're like in that conversation. So like if you're having like this is like an A/B conversation and you can see yourself
your way out of it.
We're into it, but like you have to be there to see it.
Right.
And that's the thing is like right now it's like usually like Twitter form is like ABC yourself out, but it's ABC yourself in, like opt in, actually put in the energy and effort to be part of the community, not just like yelling at people because you're actually able to see it because the platform was made in a specific way.
Right. Yeah. That's dope to me. As soon as you said AB, I was like, and you see your way out. Real talk. Like in order, I like the fact that it's like in order to join in on the conversation, it is like that. Like be engaged in the conversation. Don't just brisk over the conversation. And like you said, like, I mean, I feel like honestly, we're in a world now where a lot of people can socialize on social media in a sense, but don't know how to actually have real conversations. And I'm not just talking about like in person or face to face, but like you said, there's so many people that do reply with like just fire emojis, keeping it 100, you know what I mean? Or things like that, but nobody's actually taking out the time, or people are more apt to do that than take out the time to be like, okay, this is how I feel, like I'm in this conversation, so this is how I feel. Let me tell you how I feel. Let me write how I feel. And then let's keep this conversation going from there. Like it's not necessarily forcing you, but it's making people so more engaged in a conversation versus being like outside of a conversation and being like, oh, I just want to join because I see all these other people like just responding with like you said, emojis. So I think it's pretty dope.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think it's actually pretty fucking genius.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
think too
real.
that is so interesting too. If you think about like what are we primed to do? Like what do platforms allow us to do? And so that's what we do. It's like Instagram is about posting, and then
Mm-hmm.
people can interact with you. It's not about you starting a conversation and then
Mm-hmm.
other people interact with it. And I think like when that dynamic changes and we actually, it's about like engaging with other people, and it's not just about like, oh, I know if I like reply on this, my friend will get more views and more likes, which equals, I don't know, but like whatever equals. And it's like if we can actually the dynamic, so it's about, oh, my friend wrote this, so they actually are thinking it and want to have conversation about it, I interact with it. We like
Right.
change the reason we interact on social, and that's actually social. What we're
Right.
doing right now, everything else is just media.
It's distant though, too. If you think about it, like if we want to talk about social distancing, like the
Yes.
platforms are social distancing if you think about it, because in actuality there's so many people that are still searching for that connection. You know, we're still, even though we're like we talked about IM messaging and things like that, like we're instant, like everything's so instant now, but in the same sense we're still searching for this deeper connection. So I just feel like Two Swim kind of allows that. And what I also like about Two Swim, and I don't know if y'all did this on purpose or not, but it plays on water. You know, when you're
Yes.
swimming in something, it's water. Water is the spirit. Water is the soul. Water is the connection to the divine. I know is I know I'm getting a little deep, but
Yeah.
it's connection. It's feeling that connection, being in that water, being immersed in the water, being immersed in the conversation. I do want to ask though, this is my own perception of what it is, but how did y'all come up with Two Swim as the title? Like, does that play off of, I mean, in the streams, I know I was talking about the streams and shit, but like, how did y'all come up with this as the actual name?
Yeah, I mean, so if you think about Two Swim, totally the water references, and also thinking about not just being like one self submerged in water, but one being part of it. So like every conversation is the drop in an ocean, and we are all creating that ocean together. So thinking about what does it mean to create spaces, digital spaces, but create spaces together, and keeping that in mind. And so that's why like water references are current, like consistently throughout the current streams. We also just love water references, so it worked out.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
It's a fun name. It's kind of techy, but it still has those connotations, and marrying those was just like so perfect for us.
Right. No, I love it. I think it's the perfect fit for the platform that y'all provide. I do want to ask though, what is something that y'all would like to see from the people that are like joining in on the platform? Like what is something that you encourage? I mean, besides, you know, posting and things like that. Like what
Yeah.
would you like people, the call to action, I should say. Like what would you like people to do when they're in this your specific platform, like in this, like what is that?
Yeah. I mean, for us, my whole thing is about being good people, and just like when you go into a social platform, you act the way you do on that platform. So like I am Mika on Twitter and I am Mika on Instagram, but they are not necessarily always the same Mika. And that's fine if we want to keep living life like that. I really want to create a space, and like for me, just like as a person, like I think about everything I do in life as like hosting and like taking care of people. That's naturally what I care about. And so for me, it's like, how do we create spaces that people feel that they can take care of each other and take care of themselves? So for us, that's why, as I mentioned, like we're invite only for really specific communities, not only so that we can provide like private spaces, like for members of the Black Lesbian Archives community to like actually talk privately, but also for like people from BLA to meet like the folks in Secret Black Girl Meeting. And how do we create ways for folks to work together and build community across different communities? Because yes, we need to have private spaces for different groups, and certain conversations like need to be separate, but there's also a lot of times where we need to talk to each other.
Right. And I love that. Even in person, you know, sometimes when we do want to have like, you know, spaces for us to be able to come together, because I am a person that definitely does believe that all spaces are not for everybody. And I'm definitely okay with that. Like, we talking
Yeah.
about lesbian conversations. It's like, CC, baby. CC, you know. Yeah, like, I love you, but CC, you know. So I do appreciate that. And I do want to thank y'all for actually taking the time to come up with, you know, this platform. I think it's honestly groundbreaking. And I can't wait to see, like, what you know, just what comes of it as it expands and it grows and things like that. So thank y'all for that, really.
It's such an honor for me, and I'll speak for the folks that I work with, but like, it's such an honor to be able to meet people like you and like a lot of our other partners who are just like, you're doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to be able to support that happening, there's nothing better, or in my opinion, like, important for me to do except that.
Yeah, oh, definitely. So for those of y'all that's on this live chat, you know, make sure y'all go download To Swim. I did want to ask one more thing. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with? Do y'all have any events coming up online? Anything that we can do to support you? Any links that we can have? So I'll definitely post those if you need them. Let me know.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, just like sign up. They'll have to DM you to get the code. And then, yeah, I mean, I am always down to talk to anyone, so just DM me. I'm here.
Okay, for sure. Well, hey, there y'all have it. You know what I'm saying? We have Mika and the whole To Swim team, y'all. Thank y'all for coming in, tuning in, saying what's up. And I would love to, you know, follow up in the future. You know what I mean? Like, as things move along and stuff like that. Like, if you have anything that you want to come on and, you know, say and things like that, maybe collaborate and do something. Or even if we